I'm going to preview the 1 seed Purdue versus the 2 seed Tennessee men's basketball game, which will be played tomorrow at 1:20 p.m. Central Time on CBS. And the game will be played in Detroit, Michigan at Little Caesars Arena. And Purdue right now is 32-4 overall, 17-3 in the Big Ten, while Tennessee is 27-8 overall, 14-4 in the SEC. And I'm going to go over the stats for both of these teams in terms of players that usually play. And I definitely know Purdue does not have any injuries, and I know Tennessee has one guy that's questionable with an illness. So I'm going to still go over that questionable guy for Tennessee, but after that, and I'm going to apologize in advance for looking down because I cannot memorize all this stuff here. First of all, Zach Edey is the top guy for Purdue. And I'm going to go over guys that have mostly played this year too. 24.6 points per game, 12.1 rebounds per game, 2.1 assists per game, 2.2 blocks per game, 2.2 turnovers per game, 2 fouls per game. 1 for 2 on 3, so not 3-point shooter. 71.4% on free throws on 402 attempts. Sheesh. And there's Braden Smith. 12.3 points per game, 5.8 rebounds per game, 7.5 assists per game, 1.6 steals per game, 1.5 fouls per game, 2.6 turnovers per game, 44.2% on threes on 120 attempts, 81.3% on free throws on 75 attempts. Lance Jones at 12 points per game, 2.7 rebounds per game, 2.1 assists per game, 1.3 steals per game, 1.5 turnovers per game, 1.9 fouls per game, 35.7% on threes on 210 attempts, 73.9% on free throws on 92 attempts. Fletcher Lawyer is the next guy. 10.5 points per game, 2 rebounds per game. It's still close to 2 assists per game. I'm going to say 1.9 assists per game, 0.7 steals per game, 1.2 turns per game, 1.4 fouls per game, 45% on threes on 131 attempts, 86% on free throws on 93 attempts. And there's Mason Gillis. 6.8 points per game, 3.8 rebounds per game, so close to 2 assists per game. I'm going to say 1.8 assists per game, 1.5 fouls per game, 0.8 turnovers per game, 48.3% on threes on 116 attempts, 85.4% on free throws on 41 attempts. And there's Trey Coffin Wren. 6.6 points per game, 4.1 rebounds per game, 0.8 turns per game, 1.4 fouls per game. Made a third of the threes this year on 24 attempts, but 55.4% on free throws on 83 attempts. And there's Miles Colvin. 3.7 points per game, 0.8 fouls per game, 5 for 10 on free throws, 24 for 55 on threes, which is 43.6%. Now Camden Hyde, Heide, I apologize if I butchered that. 3.5 points per game, 2 rebounds per game, 1.5 fouls per game, 46.2% on threes on 39 attempts, 11 for 15 on free throws, which is 73.3%. I'm not going to go ahead and mention Berg from Purdue. He only plays in blowouts, it seems, and he's not even played a ton of games this year, so forget that. Then Caleb First, 2.2 points per game, 2.5 rebounds per game, 0.9 fouls per game, 27.3% on threes on 11 attempts, 67.6% on free throws on 34 attempts. And it seems like the last guy I'm going to mention here is Ethan Morton. 0.7 points per game, 0.8 fouls per game, 21.1% on threes on 19 attempts, 57.1% on free throws on 7 attempts. It's because the two guys ahead of him, they don't play a lot, and they only play in blowouts. So it's like, I'm not going to mention it, but I'm going to go ahead and look anyway before moving on to the Tennessee side of things. Yep, that's kind of what I thought. Now, I'm going to start with the Tennessee side now, and I'll go over the keys for the game after this, and it's generic for both of these teams here. Obviously, the best player for Tennessee is Dalton Knecht. I mean, look at the numbers. 21.2 points per game, 4.9 rebounds per game. It's so close to 2 assists per game, let's just say 1.8 assists per game, 0.7 blocks per game, 0.7 steals per game, 1.8 fouls per game, 1.7 turnovers per game, 39.2% on threes on 222 attempts, 77% on free throws on 200 attempts. Then Ziegler, 11.9 points per game, 2.8 rebounds per game, 6 assists per game, 1.8 steals per game, 2.2 turnovers per game, 1.3 fouls per game, 35.3% on threes on 201 attempts, 71.9% on free throws on 114 attempts. Desai Jordan James is the next guy to keep an eye on for Tennessee. 8.5 points per game, 6.4 rebounds per game, so close to 2 assists per game, when we mentioned 1.9 assists per game, 0.6 blocks per game, 1.3 steals per game, 1 turnover per game, 1.9 fouls per game, 33.1% on threes on 124 attempts, 83.6% on free throws on 73 attempts. Jordan Gainey is the next guy I'm going to mention. It's 6.9 points per game, so close to 2 rebounds per game. Let's just say 1.8 rebounds per game, 0.9 steals per game, 1.5 fouls per game, 0.9 turnovers per game, 28% on threes on 132 attempts, 87% on free throws on 54 attempts. Now, the guy that I did say that was questionable with an illness, which I don't know if he's going to play, but I'm just going to go ahead and mention it. Santiago Vescovi, Vescovi. Apologize if I butchered that. .5 points per game, 3.7 rebounds per game, 2.5 assists per game, 1 turnover per game, 1.1 steals per game, 2.6 fouls per game, 32.8% on threes on 131 attempts, 79.6% on free throws on 54 attempts. And there's Tobe, T-O-B-E. I apologize if I butchered that. Awaka, A-W-A-K-A. Apologize if I butchered that as well. 5.2 points per game, 4.6 rebounds per game, 0.6 blocks per game, 0.7 turnovers per game, 2.4 fouls per game. No threes attempted, but 74.2% on free throws on 66 attempts. Okay. Jeremiah Mashak, C-K, and I apologize if I butchered that. 4.6 points per game, 3.1 rebounds per game, 0.8 steals per game, 0.6 turnovers per game, 2.1 fouls per game, 36.8% on threes on 38 attempts, 70.8% on free throws on 48 attempts. Okay, I definitely know I'm not going to go over DJ Jefferson. He's only played 1 game this year, and he's probably not going to play. And it was earlier this year, so yeah, that's kind of what I thought. I'm going to just look down here and just see if I need to mention any other guys. I know he doesn't play that much this year, but Freddie Delone, the fourth, D-I-L-I-O-N-E, 1.7 points per game, 0.8 turnovers per game, 2 for 7 on threes, that's 28.6%, and 4 for 5 on free throws, which we know that's 80%. just gonna look real fast. Okay, it seems like Cameron Carr played last game, even though it was tight, but they probably subbed late and all this. But I'm gonna just still go over it. 1.6 points per game, 0.6 fouls per game, 5 for 18 on threes, which is 27.8%, and 2 for 3 on free throws, which we know that's 66.66667%. So I'm definitely going to go over G-Pay Estrella because he's played in 24 games this year. 1.6 points per game. 0.9 fouls per game, 10 for 14 on free throws, which is 71.4%. So that's all I'm going to mention on the players. It looks like here, and I'm going to just say this up front: you got to out hustle the other team. You got to out rebound the other team, because when you win a rebounding battle, you could win the games usually, and you got to take care of the ball while forcing turnovers on defense. You got to get some transition points in the paint, some second chance points on turnovers. Of course, on defense, you want to limit that. You don't want the other team living at the free throw line. Well, if you get to the free throw line, you got to make them count, because in games in the Elite Eight, like at this stage of the NCAA tournament, it does make a difference, and not just an NCAA tournament, but any game really. That could make a difference in the game, whether you're up bigger or you could have won the game. So yeah, that's another thing. And you got to contain the shooters, contain slashers. And if you're trying to contain the shooters, I would dare to make them shoot long twos instead of threes. And you don't want to give them any clean looks, period. You got to make adjustments on the fly, both offensively and defensively. Not just from first half to second half, but possession by possession, or timeout to timeout, or media break to media break. And you don't know how the officiating is going to be in this game. I'm just going to address that up front, but you've got to find a way is to win despite the officiating, in my opinion. And you just got to be the more mentally tougher team, and you got to be ball tough, because what if somebody wants to steal the ball right behind you after a rebound? I mean, or just try to take it away. It's the truth in all this. And you want probably the opponent to get some good shot. You want to get some good shot selection on offense while making it hard for the defense. I mean, that's the thing. Getting some steals and getting some blocks would definitely help, because the more of that you could do, the better. Though it's not always the indicator on how good of a defense it is, as long as you don't give up clean looks and try to get them below 40% or 35% from the field. That will really make a difference in this game. And it's going to be an interesting game. It's a 1 versus 2 matchup after all. And currently Purdue is favored by 3.5. So this could be upset potential. Could be, but we'll have to wait and see. And I'm just saying that because Tennessee's that good. And neither of these two teams have played each other this year. And that's kind of one of the reasons why I picked this game, to be honest, to preview instead of Duke versus NC State. That's already been done. I mean, in terms of matchup. I mean, it's the truth. Truth here, and of course you don't want to get like technical fouls or flagrant fouls. You don't want to do that, and you got to keep your cool and stay composed. Play your game, both offensively and defensively. And like I said, you got to adjust to the officiating and all this, and you don't want the other team living at the free throw line, because what if they make them count and you don't? That's a big difference in the game. So anyways, if you like this content, hit the like and subscribe button. See you guys later. On the road to 600 subscribers, of course, ultimate goal. It's 1,000 more, some of your money off this course. Like a video, comment video really helps YouTube algorithm so more people can see it. Sharing the videos up as well so more people can watch. And if you're watching and don't subscribe, hit the subscribe button, so hit the notification bell as well. Of course, you want to get their posting best players in foul trouble as much as possible. I mean, while limiting your own. Because what if it's your last game as a super senior or regular senior and you already decided you're not going to come back for a COVID year? You don't want to have any regrets fouling out of a game. I'm just telling the truth about that. Or if you're going to go to the NBA draft, then this is your for sure last game. You got to have the best game possible. I mean, that's the truth.